In this video, I'm gonna briefly go through the responsibilities of a film director and how their workflow goes from the beginning of making a picture to the end. Hey everyone, my name is Dom and this is Filmmaking Simplified, where we talk about everything that belongs to the art of filmmaking. I'm sure that when people hear the job title film director, they have two kinds of reactions basically. One of them is the absolute carelessness by people that don't give a single shit about art, and for them, unless you do physical work in a factory or anywhere else 14 hours a day, you're not working. They think that you're just having fun and making a ton of money and everyone could do it. And also that you have to do all sorts of things to get into the film industry, and well, I'm sure you know these beliefs. The other kind of reaction is basically just people thinking that film directors are for God. Now, in reality, none of them is completely wrong or right, because first of all, if a director loves their job, and why wouldn't they? They're just having fun. I mean, just think about making a movie like Star Wars or The Avengers. Literally middle-aged adults talk about lightsabers and aliens while sipping on single malt scotch. Like, come on! And there are people like doctors saving lives. But it's also true that directors are gods in a certain way, because they do create worlds with the help of hundreds of other people, of course. Anyway, putting the jokes aside, the directors are supposed to be on the top of the creative part of a movie. Unfortunately, very often money speaks instead of art, so directors don't have ultimate control over everything, but in an ideal world, they have the last word. So, let me begin with what you will have to know and learn if you want to become a film director. Simply put, everything. And I'm not joking. Directors have to know everything, and in a way, they should be able to do everything that they ask from any departments of the crew. Now, of course, before you throw rocks at me, this just simply cannot be entirely true. That's why filmmaking is a teamwork. You can't do everything, but in theory, you must know that it's possible one way or another. You see, when you make a request, you will receive dozens of questions where you either will have to be able to give an answer or make a decision on the spot. One of my masters taught me that directors are decision-making robots, basically. During the span of a production, you will have to make hundreds, if not thousands of decisions, and you have to be sure about all of them. If somebody asks a why that they shouldn't, but jokes aside, you need to have a reason and you have to be 100% sure about your decision, so when people start raising questions, you won't go along with their doubts. Remember that you are at the top of the creative part of a movie. You do have other, let's say, team leaders, of course, like your director of photography, production, or sound designer, who will be in control of their own departments, but you will have to be the one who has to give directions to them. This is why people often think that you have to start from the bottom of a film career if you want to become a film director, because you have to climb that ladder to learn how things work in a film crew. But I think the way to become a film director is making movies. And basically that's it. One thing that I think people will rarely ever advise to an aspiring director is also knowing the craft of acting. I also have a lot of, professional arguments with my classmates in film school, because the opinions about this topic are very diversified, I think. And on this note, let me mention the biggest responsibility of a director that aspiring directors don't pay enough attention to. Instructing actors. And it doesn't mean that you tell them to go from A to B. It means that you give the directions within themselves. You tell them the feeling they're supposed to feel, the emotion they have to be in and work with. You have to, in a way, make them, but more like help them to do what you want from the characters in the scene. Directors, however, are not completely wrong when they think that actors are supposed to be able to do everything that they're asked to do, because, well, that's their job. But the director's job is to point them into the right direction so they could achieve that level of performance that the director requires. So, in my opinion, directors should be able to instruct actors just as good as actors are supposed to give a performance. But again, in order for a director to know that it is possible that they ask for, they have to know the way actors work, no? Just the same way they know how cameras, sound equipment, or anything else works on set. I mean, behind the talent and acting skills, there are also certain techniques that an actor uses. Methods, if you will. And even the best actors rely on instructions and directions, and if they struggle with achieving something in their performance, they will ask the director to help them to find the right words, emotions, and motive. Now, I think it's pretty clear why it's important to know some acting as a director, even if you're the most insecure person in the world and hate being in front of the camera or being on stage. But it is really important. It will help you in giving instructions to actors and connecting with them on a level that's gonna make both of your jobs much easier and the results much better. Okay, now that you're relieved that you have to know everything in order to become a film director, let's move on to the workflow of a director when they're making a movie. It's not gonna be very detailed, I'm sorry you'll have to learn that in real life, but these will be just the basics. So, as often directors also write the script. I'm gonna skip to the part where the script is already done, whether it was written by screenwriters or the director. So, in an ideal setup, when the director has the script, they start visualizing it. If they have that much freedom, they choose the director of photography they want to work with, and they soon start working together. At the same time, the duo starts working with other departments like production design, costume design, sound department, even VFX department, casting directors, of course, starts looking for locations, and basically starts stressing over everything. Soon also rehearsals begin with actors, the arguing with the producer and the finance team, and this goes on for months and months or even for years. Pre-production is just the worst, for me, at least. And then comes the shortest period of making of a film, which is the production period itself. It's the best and most exciting part. It's also exhausting, stressful. You will have many arguments, you will lose weight and become sleep deprived. When you start seeing the first frames of your movie, it's just the best feeling ever. And during this period, the entire crew becomes a family and you will become a little depressed after the production period is over. And by little, I mean a lot. And then you move on to post-production, which is also exciting, but much more chill. However, many of the most important decisions will have to be made in this period. And the worst thing is that they have to be final. In a professional environment, this process goes smoothly. You just have to be there everywhere and point everyone to the right directions. As a director, I mean. And by everyone, I mean the sound design, VFX department, coloring, and of course, I mean, editing before everything else. And once your movie is done, you still can't let go of it. You have to be there for it for the rest of your life. My master often tells us examples of how he always made sure that his movies are shown in a movie theater the right way, otherwise he didn't let it. So yeah, it's just like a child, you have to nurture it. That's it for today's video. So if you enjoyed it and you feel like that you learned something, don't forget to subscribe and give this video a like. Both really helps in growing this community. If you have a thought, share it with me in the comment section and let's have a chat. Thank you so much for your time and have a great day. Ciao.